Welcome to the Princess S80, fresh from its debut at the Cannes Boat Show. And this boat has had a lot of column inches and YouTube airtime dedicated to it, but no one has actually been able to tell you what this $10 million, 4,000 horsepower new flagship of the Princess S-Class range is actually like to drive. Until now. That's right, in this video we're going to give you the in-depth tour, we're going to compare it to its closest rivals, but most importantly and first, we're going to see what it's like to drive. I'm Jack Haines, welcome to YachtBuyer. Before we cover what the S80 is like to drive, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're not already, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon, and you'll be notified every time we upload a new sea trial like this one. So, the driving experience, it's an important part of what this boat is about. This is based on the same platform as the Y80 and the X80, but this is the sporty one, the one with the performance. And the performance is pretty good. It's got a pair of 2,000 horsepower MAN V12s, and we've had a comfortable 34 knot top speed today. You can spec this one, the S, not the X or the Y, with twin 2,200 horsepower MAN V12s, and that one is potentially going to be knocking on the door of 40 knots, which is quite remarkable really, and that's a good way to summarize this boat's performance. It is remarkable. Takes a little while to spool up. You know, you've got quad turbos on these MANs, so you bury the throttles, not a lot happens, and then suddenly it all happens all at once, and it is just this monstrous wave of torque surging you forwards very, very smoothly and with real determination. And this thing climbs up to 30 knots once the turbos are spooled up, really like that. You've got to quickly, whoa, just throttle it back a little bit to temper things down. And we're now romping along at 25 knots. That's 240 litres an hour on both engines. So yeah, this is probably your fast cruising speed. But of course, if you want to eke out the range, you can slow it down. It's got a big fuel capacity, so you can drop down to 10 knots and get hundreds of nautical miles of range if you prefer. You can have it with fin stabilizers, you can have it with a gyro. This particular boat's got the gyro. You have the choice there depending on what you prefer. Obviously the gyro is most effective when the boat's stationary. But you don't want to talk about being stationary, we want to talk about what it's like to handle. So let's see what she's like to turn. What she likes, if you want to throw her around a bit, is to be going a bit faster. If you're down at 20 knots, you turn and she'll just bog down a little bit. This hull is very happy, closer to 30 knots. Reacts really nicely to the wheel at that speed. The boat just feels like it's up on its toes a bit more agile. And when you do these turns, okay, they're still relatively wide. Don't forget, this is an 80-foot yacht, but it turns really nicely, and you can wheel the steering wheel back the other way, and soon enough, she's heaving herself back in the other direction. Yeah, it's a fabulous feeling. Quite a few turns lock to lock. It makes you work a little bit, but actually, the turning circle is admirably tight for something this large, and at that 30 knot speed you really shed very little speed when you turn. It's nice to know it can do it, I don't imagine many owners are going to be wasting too much time doing this, but it's nice to know you can do it if you want to. The driving position up here is really nice. Got these couple of really comfortable Helm seats, and they're positioned as such that you can slide them forward, sit back. You've got the armrest, so yeah, this feels like a real armchair ride. I can still be in touch with the wheel. I can still just about see the pennant. They're a little bit low to sit back and see the bow. So if you want to see the bow, you're sitting forward a bit. But when you're on longer cruises, clear visibility like today, you can just sit back and enjoy the surroundings, chat to your navigator. And you've got these seats on either side as well, and I like the design of those because guests can sit facing aft, so they've got the protection of this cushion here, or they can sit facing forward if they want to, but it just makes it a bit more of a social arrangement. You have got the bimini in your eye line, though the compass is very well positioned. It's a little bit of an eyesore, and you're not getting much protection here. It's a low windscreen. They could do with employing what Sunseeker and Absolute do. They've got a perspex slide that you can pull up from behind the helm, and it just deflects the wind over the heads of the people here at the helm station. That would make a difference here. But you've got your navigation pod with the bonning system in the middle. That's all your functionality, your systems, navigation on either side, and then actually the switch gear is nice and close. This stuff isn't too much of a stretch away. It's just a little bit of a stretch over to the screens. But it's a really nice place to, in good weather, sit and cover the yards. Whether you're doing 30 knots like we are now with about 600 litres an hour, being drunk, or if you want to take down the pace a bit and just enjoy the ride at a slower pace. But of course, if you want protection, we've got a lower helm to enjoy. So before we do the full tour, let's head downstairs and have a drive from there. Before we get up to speed from down here, let's just talk a little bit about slow speed manoeuvring. There are different approaches in this sector to drive systems. The Pershing 8X is jet drive, the Azimuth S8 is IPS, triple IPS 1350. So if it's a joystick you're after, that's probably the one to go for. If you want sheer performance, that Pershing's doing nearly 50 knots, then that's the one for you. But this is a sort of nice bridge in between, because you can have a joystick option on this with the shaft drives. This boat's not got it. We've got our twin throttles and we've got proportional bow and stern thrusters. So if you want to manoeuvre this at slow speed, you're going to be splitting the throttles to get the boat to turn or twist, you know, pretty much on a sixpence. And then of course you can do a similar thing with the bow and stern thrusters, which are proportional as well. So you can do a gentle bit of thrust, and then if you pull it right over, the thrust increases, and they'll also hold the boat in place as well. If you want to pin them onto a quayside, for example, you can do that. And in terms of where you might berth this boat from, well, actually for a lower helm on what is a sleek boat, the view from here is really good. You sit nice and high. I can see forward really easily. I can see to starboard easily. There's a side door as well, so I can communicate with crew. But also, because you've got this big flat deck, I can see right down, not quite the bathing platform, but to the transom from here. And up from the flybridge as well, you've got a great all-round view. And because it's got a shorter flybridge, you can see through the deck hatch again down to the cockpit to communicate with crew. And if that doesn't work, there's a third helm station or control station to port that pops out from the moulding down there. So if you're stern to your mooring, that's probably the place you want to be. So loads of flexibility. As I said, people want to run these boats themselves, so doing this stuff, the manoeuvring is important, and they've made it pretty easy on this boat. But that's enough of the slow stuff. Let's get her up to speed from down here. It'll be slightly less visceral, I think, because we've got obviously full protection of the windscreen. We're well insulated. We've got the aft doors shut as well, so we can have a look at sound levels in a minute. But this is where at 1000 RPM we begin to get that surge as the turbos spool up, and where we go. Suddenly you are romping along at 25 knots. A very, very refined 25 knots. In fact, I'm going to check what we're registering at sound levels here, because I think this is the cruising speed that you're going to be at a lot of the time, certainly the fast cruising speed. Yeah, sub 70 decibels at 1900 RPM with 4000 horsepower down below the deck. That's really not bad, and it means that you can really relax in this cruise. And what's different about this, in fact this is the first time Princess has ever done it, triple helm seats. And that's really nice. That means that 3 people can sit up here, enjoy the ride, the view over this very commanding dashboard. You've got that nice dinette over there in the corner as well, which is an equally nice place for people to travel, but is also useful when the boat's stationary. But yeah, when the boat's moving along, this is a really, really great place to be. And because you have the helm is over to starboard, these 2 seats, people can move in and out without disturbing the skipper. I've also got full control of the seat here, so I can slide in and out, I can move up and down, you can move yourself nice and close to the helm station. So like upstairs, you can sit with your hands just about on the wheel, and everything is within relatively easy reach. If I was really being picky, I'd like to have this control for the MFDs up in my armrest, so I can literally just sit back and control the screens. But it's not too bad at all. And the fact that you've got twin boning screens, you've got twin navigation screens as well, means you have lots of flexibility with how you can display the data. It feels a bit overkill really to have 2 boning screens, but it means you can have your engine information up all the time, and then you can check tankage and other systems, and cameras as well. You've got cameras in the cockpit, cameras in the engine room, so you can have really good oversight of what's going on around the boat sitting at this helm station. I like the dash layout. The design is very attractive. It's very simple. You've got black leather on top. It's a bit shiny down below, and I'm already seeing sort of scratches and fingerprints, and also you get quite a lot of glinting in this shiny stuff on the lower dash. So I'd probably replace that with this matte material they've got lower down. Would be better up here, so you don't get all of those reflections. And also the vents for the air conditioning are a little bit flush, so you can't really point them at yourself as the skipper. It'd be better if they were a bit higher up on the dashboard somewhere. But it's really cleanly presented, it's really easy to see everything, and this is a really nice comfortable place to be able to sit, and you can chat to your passengers very easily. And then you have the flexibility of the sunroof as well. Obviously we've got it closed now, but you can ping that open, and then you've got some natural ventilation. You're a bit more in touch with the elements. It's much brighter down here as well, and that is a real benefit you have with this style of boat. You can't do that on the X, you can't do that on the Y. Here you have the big flybridge, you've also got that nice sunroof that you can open up on a nice evening like this if you want to. But as you can see, you just sort of adopt this really comfortable recline position. I can peer around and make sure everything's as it should be. Great all-round view, and it's really quiet and refined, and easy yards from this lower Helm. If you're passage making, especially at night, slow speed, it's a nice place to be. Now, what I think we're going to do now is going to head into Villefranche, the lovely surroundings of Villefranche, and that is where we can give you an in-depth tour of the decks and the interior. If you're buying a Sportsbridge, you concede that you're going to have a smaller upper deck than you would have with a traditional flybridge, but at this scale, at 80 feet, it's still a really good space. Compare it to one of its rivals like the Pershing 8X, where this is much more of just a sun deck. This has multiple living spaces. It's got a wet bar over here, a big wet bar as well, with a double grill and a sink and a nice big drawer fridge underneath. Over on the opposite side, there's an ice maker. So you have everything up here you need to serve your guests, and then centrally, this is storage at the moment, you can have a pop-up TV there, and this is quite clever. This whole unit can be unpinned from the deck and it slides up to the table. So as well as this nice big wrap of seating around the outside, you've got a double, maybe a triple bench for kids that pulls up to the table from this side as well. So you really can serve a big party up here if you want to eat up here. You're probably going to want some protection though. There is the option to have a fixed hardtop, which I would really not encourage because it's going to ruin what are beautiful lines on this thing. Go for the hydraulic bimini. It folds in front of the windscreen when it's not in use. Press a button, op it pops, and you've got a really nice amount of shelter up here. It's a really nice deck space, but it's not quite as good as the cockpit. So let's head down there. Two things were priorities on this main deck. One was the size of the cockpit, making it as big as possible, and the other was the way that cockpit connected to the main saloon. And they have done a fabulous job of connecting these two areas. The fact that the door slides away, this window pops up. None of this is new, we've seen this before, but they've done it so effectively, and it's also the size of the windows. When you're standing in the cockpit over there, the view across, looking into the saloon out these huge windows, it really does promote that inside-outside feeling that everyone wants to get, but this is a really successful formula. And the aft galley builds into that. You can see it's designed to serve that outside area. There isn't an internal dining space, so the galley is going to be serving this area over here, hence why this is so useful for lining up food and drinks. You've got a good amount of countertop here as well, and they've made a bit more out of it by putting bar stools over here, so you can make a sort of breakfast bar, somewhere to have a drink inside if you want to. In terms of equipment, well, it's pretty well stocked. Big sub-zero fridge here with freezer drawers below, induction cooking, there's a dishwasher as well, and it's loads and loads of storage in here as well, whether it's drawers or cupboards underneath. There's plenty of space to store your kit, and it's a really impressive cockpit space. It's sort of zoned off. You've got dining here, you've got this lounging area here, and then you've got the sun pad right aft, but it makes the most of the area it's within. We've got the overhang here, so it makes sense to have the table where you have the protection. Incidentally, this can open up. There's a leaf in the middle, so you can make it bigger. We've obviously got it slightly smaller at the moment, but again, it's well protected overhead. It's also well protected by these areas here. So if it's a really windy day and the wind is blowing over the bow, it should funnel down the side decks and not into this area. But that's not the only climate controlling, because we actually have, for the first time on a Princess, outdoor air conditioning, but it's a split gas system, so it can heat as well. I'm actually feeling the benefit even today with it all open, but it really comes into its own because you can close off to about here with covers, so you can fully insulate this area and either heat it or cool it, and that obviously really usefully extends your living space. And just to make the point about how big the cockpit is, this is where the doors would be on the Y80. So that's showing you just how much cockpit space you've got on board this boat. These are one of the only sections that actually move in this area as well. They didn't want you to have to move things around to make the spaces work, but these can be unpinned from the deck, and then you can slide them wherever you want. You can turn them to make L shapes, you can turn them to face each other. There are freestanding coffee tables that you can put in here as well. So this middle bit is a very flexible area, and over the top you've got a sunshade that pops out at the touch of a button and gives you some shade over these sun pads. But these are nice. They're split obviously, so you've got two people there, but that gives you this really nice central walkway down onto the bathing platform. And if you want to have a close look at how the S80 differs from the Y80 and the X80, head to yachtbuyer.com. There you can read an in-depth written review of this with all the data, specifications, pricing and deck plans, but you can also compare it to the Y and the X to see how the layouts differ side by side. It's a really useful tool, and one of the key things that makes this boat differ from those two is that it's got a tender garage. Underneath here, this pops up at the touch of a button. There's space in there for a Williams 435 or a similar size tender if you want it, but you've also got a hydraulic bathing platform, so this drops down into the water as well. Obviously helps as part of the tender launch system, and I suppose technically you could put chocks on here, and if you like your water toys, carry a jet ski as well. The only thing is you'd probably have to launch that every time you want to open these, because this opens up as a tender garage. This is also where the crew space is. We're going to have a look at that at the end of the tour, but it's a really nice flexible space, this, and the fact that you've got everything tucked away, your toys are all hidden away. You know, it's a high performance boat, you don't necessarily want things hanging off the back, all builds in to that performance ethos that they're going with the S80. Before we head inside, let's head up to the foredeck. Nice wide side decks, lovely tall guardrails as well. It's a very easy boat to move around, and it's an easy boat to crew as well, and a lot of that is down to how good the storage is. There is space up here to store all of the boat's fenders. It's a big boat, there's a lot of them, and they're big, but the fact you can get them all under here and the one over there means that they're all swallowed away in one place, and you don't have to, for example, be getting them in and out the crew cabin. It can all go in there. It's really, really handy, and there's more good storage underneath the sunbathing areas too, because if I do this, these pop up on gas rams. Perfect place to put covers and cushions, and again, you don't have to lift up the cushions. The whole thing comes up really easily. It just makes getting to the storage very, very easy indeed, and this is a very nice living space in its own right as well. The big sofa with the low set coffee tables as well, so you can have some drinks up here and some snacks, but it's sociable too because you can face forward, a very nice place to be at displacement speed, but also because it wraps around, you can face back this way as well, talk to people who are sitting over there and admire your boat stretching out behind you. It's a really nice space. It's also close to the cooler, so if you want a cold beer, this is the place to sit. And then forward of that, of course, you've got the twin anchor lockers, you've got twin anchors as well on this boat, and your ground tackle mooring gear, all that sort of stuff. It's a really good place. It works together really well, and it's nice and flat as well, so there's nothing to stub your toes on as you move around. Very good. Right, let's head inside. I forgot to point out that we've also got a servery here. There's a fridge underneath, there's a sink, just a bit of useful extra space to supplement the galley, but actually you are not short of cooling space. Down here on the starboard side, there's two wine fridges, one there, one the other side. There's an ice maker here, and this is quite nice. Very princess to have all your glassware stowed down here. Backlit drawer, and then it just pushes away on a soft close mechanism. Very, very nice. Now, a lot of these boats will be owner run. People may not believe that, but it's true. The 6 or 7 they've sold thus far, the owners will be running them. Hence why you've got this open galley. You can close it off more if you want to, but then you lose the point of having it all so nice and open. You can close off the helm station as well to the saloon for the same reason, but again, you're going to lose that great vista. So I think this really open feeling is really what this boat is about. And of course, with no dining space inside, you have a lot of floor space, a lot of nice comfortable seating space where you can sit and either drink in the views from these massive windows. You can see out aft very comfortably. They drop down low as well, so the view out even when you're sitting down is very, very good. The TV is opposite as well behind that sofa, so the biggest portion of sofa has got a good view of the TV. And then we come to another really key point in the Sportbridge design, is that on top of having that big flybridge, you've got the sunroof as well, and it's a big, big sunroof. There's glass in it too, so even when it's closed, you get some natural light down here. But when you're going along, you know, these triple helm seats, you can have people sitting up here beside you, the sun pouring in, the wind coming in as well. It's nicely ventilated. It's a really great effect. And obviously when it's open, it really brightens up the forward end of the saloon here. Let's head downstairs and have a look at the cabins. The lower deck arrangement is identical to the Y80 and the X80, so that means you get 4 cabins with the master cabin and midships, VIP forward, and then 2 guest cabins either side. We're going to look at all of those in a second, but first of all we have this quite nice lobby area. When you first come down the steps, you're in this nice space, which is also practical because you have the option to have a washer dryer in here, and there's a big storage void. It goes right back under the steps as well, so that's a decent size, and there's another bit of storage down there. The only handy addition I can think of would be to have a fridge here maybe, so that guests can come and get cold drinks in the night without having to go up to the galley. But let's carry on with the guest cabins. We'll start on the starboard side where there is a double ensuite. This is a nice sized cabin. You've got space around the bed on either side. Headroom's decent, dips a bit.
as you get further aft, but even here, because they've dropped the floor, it's still not too bad. You'll notice you've got independent sound throughout all these cabins as well, so guests have control of their own AV. They're all air conditioned, so you can climate control these cabins independently as well. Bit of hull window as well, so there's some nice natural light in here, and storage is very good. There's this huge hanging locker full of bedding at the moment. Over on this side, there's some eye-level lockers up here, and there's a bureau behind the door too, and it's got a very nice bathroom as well with a separate shower cubicle. This is a really nice self-contained space. If we carry on forward, on the opposite side, we arrive at a twin, but it's a clever twin, as I'll explain in a second. But again, the space is good here. Of course, you're walking between the beds. But yeah, headroom is still pretty good. You've got AV up on the wall, climate control, all that sort of stuff. And then again, decent amount of storage as well. It's all full of the boat's kit, but it gives you a good idea of how big those spaces are. And this is en suite to the dayhead, so it's not got a private bathroom, but it's pretty much private because every other cabin has got its own bathroom anyway. One neat final trick is that you can slide these berths together. So this is all touch of a button. This berth slides outboard, and then in a matter of seconds, you've got a double bed. And it's the usual nice princess trick. You've got the bedside table when they're apart, but the panel runs all the way along. So even when they're together, you've still got a bedside table on this side, which is a nice touch. And there's still enough space to be able to sort of slither down this side. Yeah, it's not a huge amount of space, but yeah, if you do want to make it into a double, it just gives you a bit more flexibility, especially if you're chartering. Flexibility of these cabins is really important. Anyway, onwards we go, and we'll head right forward, where we get to what is a rather nice VIP cabin. Dayhead entrance through there, but this has got its own private ensuite, and it's a really good size. Nicely arranged, you come right in, you have the sink, you know, natural light and also natural ventilation, but you've got space aft for a really decent sized separate shower cubicle. This is really nicely appointed, as is the cabin itself. Decent amount of floor space down here. You know, you can move around pretty easily. You can get changed comfortably here. There's a bureau there where you can do makeup, put on jewellery, that sort of stuff. And again, storage really good. You've got these on both sides. Plus, knee level lockers. There's storage underneath here. It'd be nice to have a slightly higher lip on these so stuff can't slide off. But you've also got drawer storage underneath the bed. That's always really handy. It just means you don't have to lift up the mattress to get to those storage sections. There's no skylight overhead, but there is an escape hatch. So that just pops down and then you're up onto the foredeck. And this has got nice hull windows in here. You can see the reflections dancing on the ceiling here. But yeah, natural light's good, and portholes on both sides as well, so you don't necessarily have to rely on the air conditioning unless it's really warm. But of course, the last place we must look at is the owner's cabin. Into the owner's cabin then, full beam, loads of headroom and lots of nice bits and bobs to enjoy. You've got this lovely bureau down here on the port side. This pops open, you've got jewellery storage here, the mirror, and then a nice comfortable chair as well. And some lovely detailing as well, this underlighting here. We're not seeing the best of it in these bright conditions, but at night that would set a really nice mood in here. There's a good walk-in wardrobe over there as well, which shares the beam with the bathroom, which we're going to look at in a minute. But it's very easy to move around this cabin. Totally flat floor, king-size bed in the middle that is opposite the biggest TV in the accommodation deck. Again, there's a good focus on storage. We've got the walk-in wardrobe, there's storage dotted all underneath the bureau there, and even just having these drawers here is quite handy. That's perfect for shoes, bags, that type of thing. But it does feel like a boat you could live on board really quite comfortably for longer periods of time, even if so many people will probably use it as a big day boat. And I really like this sofa because it drinks in the views from these amazing hull windows. I love doing these tours in anchorages. It's so much better than in a marina because you really get the benefit. And from bed, the view's even better. Imagine lying down here, you're in Villefranche as we are now, open the blinds in the morning. Yeah, really, really special. And this is the biggest portion of hull window, so you really do get the benefit in this cabin. Final thing to look at then is the bathroom. And even though it shares its beam with that walk-in wardrobe, there's still plenty of space in here, enough for a twin sink arrangement with big drawers underneath on both sides, so plenty of space for your toiletries. The toilet's behind the door there, and there's a window above it, and again another porthole so you can get steam out if you're having a shower in here. We've got all the black bathroom wear, which looks a bit more modern, quite masculine, but it's very clean and yeah, just a bit more contemporary. It's the same with the towel rail as well. And there's also room for what is a nice large separate shower cubicle. I like how it's all finished in wood. It contrasts nicely with the white flooring and the white sink, and again that black bathroom wear. It does look nice, and you've got your rain shower head overhead plus a one shower too, and even the fact that this little storage section has got some lighting over it is just a nice touch. And the other thing I'll say is we're on anchor, we've got the generator on, and we've got the Seakeeper running, and sound levels are really pretty quiet in here. There you go, a whisker over 40 decibels with the machinery running through there, which isn't too bad, and it is just through that bulkhead. And on that note, let's head through there and have a look at the engine room. Access to the crew cabin and engine room is via this hatch in the transom. We've seen the benefits of the tender garage layout, and now we come to one of the compromises. This crew cabin has to be smaller because there's quite a lot of space gobbled up, having that big void for somewhere to stow a tender. So if you're going to have crew on a regular basis, or more than just a captain or a deckhand occasionally, probably better to go for an X or a Y, where they've got bigger crew cabins and also a crew mess. This is just a sleeping space for the crew. That said, on the entranceway, there's more laundry. You have a washer dryer stacked on top of each other here, so you've got that to supplement what we saw in the guest accommodation. And then moving further inside, you come to the sleeping space itself. A couple of relatively tight bunks here on the port side. There's some storage overhead. There's actually some more storage back here. That's actually a pretty decent size, and the bathroom's not bad because it's got a separate shower cubicle. It's even got a seat. Ooh, posh. But yeah, this is a nice separate sort of wet room, shower room. At least you have that. But yeah, nowhere to actually hang out as a crew member. You're down here, you're in bed, that's about all you can do. That said, you have got direct access to the engine room, which is obviously very handy. It's not the only access point to the engine room. There's a ladder here, and that connects into the cockpit, so you can quickly get down and check things if you need to without having to come onto the transom. The generator is here mounted on the starboard side, and you'll be able to hear some whirring by the mic. This is the Seakeeper underneath this cover here. It's a big old thing. Yeah, that's one of the options. As I said, you can have fins if you prefer. That would free up quite a lot of space in this area. On top of that is the hydraulic pack for the thrusters, and then as we move further in, obviously we get to the engines themselves. The raw water strainers are at this end, so they're very easy to inspect by eye. You've also got the fuel filters down here too. Twin generators, one on the way in, one down in that corner. Again, it's tucked in the corner, but it's still easy to get to. You need to pull open the covers and have a quick look and make sure everything is as it should be. You can see all the pipe work as well. It's all very neat. It's all labelled, so you know the flow directions and also what the flow is, what you're looking at if there are leaks. Headroom's pretty good. You can see there's a bit of an intrusion. That's the front of the tender garage, obviously, but it doesn't really impede on this area at all, and it's very easy to move. Certainly between the engines, a bit tighter to get outboard, these big old V12 blocks, but certainly inspecting by eye, getting to the bits day to day to inspect them is easy enough. It's a very nicely put together space. Before we wrap up, let's talk pricing. Princess wouldn't supply specific prices for the review, but the approximate prices tested of the boat we had on trial was $10 million excluding VAT. This price includes approximately $1 million of optional extras, including items such as the Seakeeper 26 gyro stabiliser, a stern thruster, the sunroof, twin 28 kilowatt generators, the premium AV upgrade, 19-inch MFDs at the helm stations, Gulf spec air conditioning, and the flybridge bimini. It was a no-brainer for Princess to develop the S80. They already had the Y and the X, but the clever thing is how different those three models are. The Y, traditional flybridge, the backbone of the Princess range, the X, full of volume, usable all year round, and then this for style, performance, and living space on deck. But what strikes me about this, having been on it today, is how manageable it feels as well. I've mentioned a couple of times about this potentially being an owner-run boat, and because it's that bit smaller, it's easier to move around and see all ends of the boat when you're manoeuvring it around the marina. It just feels like you could handle it a bit more on your own if you wanted to run it that way. I'm struggling, if I'm honest, to find a flaw. The crew cabin is compromised, there's no doubt about that, and there's some tweaks at both helms that could be implemented to really perfect those, but in general it's a very, very well done package. It's the biggest S-Class yet, and I think it's also the best. But let me know what you think of it in the comments below, and let me know as well whether you go for this, the X80 or the Y80. Thank you very much for watching that review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give the video a like. We'd really appreciate it. And if you'd like to watch our review of this boat's sister ship, the X80, we've done a tour of that, so I'll put that for you up there. I'll put some more sea trials for you in this box down here. And if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do that by clicking up here. Thanks again for watching. I'm Jack Haines. This is YachtBuyer.